All right, here we go. Okay, so to find the slope given 2 points, I don't care which ones you pick. It doesn't matter which ones you pick, as long as you reduce your fractions. So we're not going to write anything right here yet, but what are parallel lines? Right. So what's true of it?
Lines that never
They're never going to intersect. Okay? That's the key with parallel. What about perpendicular? Okay, the key is they intersect, but they intersect at that 90-degree angle. We're not going to write the definitions down there. We're going to look at the slopes and see what we can find out. All right? So, tell me, is A a positive, negative, 0, or undefined slope? It's a positive slope. Okay? So, so I know it's a positive slope. Pick 2 points on A. They gave you lots of points, so your points don't necessarily have to be the same points that I'm using. If I use this one and this one, think of slope as like an elevator. You have to go up or down in the elevator before you can get off and run. Yes.
Can you just find this by like counting like to the next one?
That's what we're going to do.
Okay.
So, think of it as you have to do your Y though before you get off and go on your X's. So if I go from this point to this one, how many do I go up?
1.
I go up 1, and I always go to the right. So how many did I go?
Over 2.
Over 2. Now what about B? Pick 2 points. It is positive. How many do I go up? I want to go from this point to this point.
Up 1.
Up 1. Over 2. Good. Okay. What about C? Is it positive, negative, 0, or undefined?
Positive. Positive.
It's positive, but the slope is really, really steep. So, pick any 2 points. If I want to do this one to this one, I know it's still positive. How many am I going up?
Up 2 over 1.
Okay. Up 2 over 1.
Unnecessary.
What about negative?
It's negative.
It's okay, so D is a negative slope.
So you go.
Yeah.
What?
You go down to.
Okay, now you always go to the right, so you've got to go from, and you do it from left, you find your slope from left to right, like you're reading a book. Okay, so we are going down, how many?
2.
And we're going right, how many? 1. Alright, now let me ask you this. Which lines look parallel?
A and B.
You're right. What do you notice about the slopes of A and B?
They're the same.
Okay. So, the slopes are equal if it's parallel. Do you see anything that looks perpendicular?
A and D.
A and D. Anything else?
B and C.
You're right on B and something.
B and D.
B and D as well. Those are perpendicular. Now tell me, what do you notice about the slopes there? Opposite what? Opposite reciprocals. Okay? So slopes are opposite reciprocals. Now all that is a fancy way to say you flip your fraction and change your sign. That's all that's a way, just a fancy way to say it. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to fill this chart out really quick, and we're going to decide whether they're parallel, what the parallel slope would be, and then what the perpendicular slope would be too. So, on here, if I have a slope of 2/3, and I want to know what's the parallel slope, what's it going to be? It's going to be the same as 2/3. But the perpendicular is what?
-3/2.
-3/2. Flip it and change the sign. What number can I make 4 and put in the denominator to make it a fraction? What number can I put there that's not going to change it?
1.
A 1, good, okay? Now, if you need to, because I will tell you, this is where a lot of people get confused. They're fine on the parallel. The parallel slope is what? Which is a -4. You guys are usually fine there.
You put the 1.
You can if you want to.
Okay.
But where we usually get these flip-flops is I'll get a lot of papers that say the perpendicular slope is 4.
Wouldn't it be 1 -1
Exactly. The perpendicular slope doesn't just flip the sign, it also flips the fraction. So I'm going to flip that and make it a positive 1/4. Question. I want to give you about 1 minute to fill out the rest. Let's see what you can do for the next 2. Don't do 0 yet. Alright, so what is the parallel slope to -1/4? -1/4. What's the perpendicular slope to -1/4? 4/1 or just 4. What's the parallel slope to 2? 2/1 or 2. What's the perpendicular slope? Okay, what's the parallel slope to 0?
0.
Alright, so that's where we're at so far. Show me with your hands what 0's slope looks like. Zero's like this. It's flat. You can walk on it. Okay? Now, what's the opposite of horizontal? Vertical. And what is the what's the slope of this line? Undefined. So the opposite of a 0 slope, perpendicular, is undefined.
I think I knew that already.
Alright? Questions up to this point?
No.
Okay, for this next example, example 3, we're going to, what we're going to do is we're going to decide whether these equations in A, B, and C are parallel, perpendicular, or maybe they're not even related at all. Alright? The very first thing that you have to do is solve for y, if it's not there. So that's the very first thing. So on this number 1 right here, y equals -2x plus 11. Does that solve for y? Is y by itself?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so my slope is which one? -2. It's my m value. Okay? My m represents slope, and it's just the number. Don't include the x. What does the 11 tell us? What's the b? It's the what?
It's like you go over where you go left to the upper
No, not that one. The 11 tells us where it crosses the y-axis. It's the y-intercept. Okay? We don't need that as of right now. Alright, what about number 2? This y plus 2x equals 23. Is that solved?
No.
No. So we're going to solve that for y. So what's the first thing I need to do?
Subtract 2x.
So that's going to be y equals
Negative 2x plus 23.
negative 2x plus 23. What's my slope?
Negative 2.
Negative 2.
Negative
So, my question is, if I have a slope of negative 2 and a slope of negative 2 on both equations, are they parallel, perpendicular, or not related?
parallel.
They're the same so that they are parallel. Good. We're going to repeat that for examples B and C. So example B, y plus 6 equals a negative 5. Is that one solved for y?
No.
No, so let's do that. Y plus 6 equals a negative 5. So what do I do first?
Subtract 6.
Okay. That gives me y equals a negative 11. What's my slope?
Undefined.
0.
My slope is 0. Y equals a number, your slope is 0. If you can't remember, you could plug that into your calculator in y equals and it would come out as a flat horizontal line. If you want to just do something different, you can just do a quick sketch of about where it might be on a graph. And that's perfectly fine. I'm not looking for it to be perfect. All right, number 2, y plus x equals y plus 7. Is that solved? Is y completely by itself? No, I have 2 y's. So we know we don't like them on the right, so let's get rid of that one. So how would I get rid of this y? Subtract it. So y minus y gives me what?
What gives you x?
They cancel, and I have x. Those cancel, and I have 7. So x equals 7. That one's undefined. If I were to plot that on a graph, it would look like this. So my question is, are they parallel? Are they perpendicular? Or are they not related?
Perpendicular.
They're perpendicular. Because think about our table. The opposite of 0 is undefined. Anytime you have x equals a number and y equals a number, those are perpendicular. Okay? Question. On C, do I have to solve for anything on C?
No.
It's already solved for you. So on C, our first equation, what's my slope?
3.
My second equation, my slope is what?
5.
So is 3 and 5 parallel, perpendicular, or not related?
Not related.
They're not related to them either. And I do not care if you put not related, neither, none, whatever you want to do, as long as you know they're not parallel, they're not perpendicular. Let me ask you this, will they still intersect?
No, they could.
Yeah, they will. 2 lines will always intersect unless they're parallel. Okay? Question. All right, flip it over to the back side. So I can give you an equation and ask you to find out that way. I can give you a picture, like what we're going to do back here. So if I give you a picture, sometimes that picture is going to have the equation on there with it. Could we work that the same way that we just did? You could. Do you want to mess with those fractions? I wouldn't. What's another way I can find slope given a picture? I can find 2 points exactly where they intersect. You have to, don't guess. That looks about halfway? No. You have to be able to tell exactly. Alright? So, I know that this one intersects right there. And I know that this one intersects right there. I can tell those are definite 0, 6 and 4, 3. If you don't like my point, you might be able to find some other points to use. Okay? Now, is that slope parallel, perpendicular, or neither? I'm sorry, that was not right. The lines look parallel, okay? I'll give you that. Is that slope positive, negative, 0, or undefined? It's negative. Okay? So, my slope is a negative something.
-3 over 4.
Okay, so I go down 3 to get to that next point, and then I go right 4. We're going to find 2 points on the next one as well. I'm going to use this point and this point. Is this slope positive or negative, 0, or undefined? It's also negative. And how many do I go down? 3. And I go over how many? 3 over 4.
Well, since you can tell they're definitely parallel,
Alright, now I'm going to use that as an example. By just looking. And the fastest way to get in trouble in geometry is by what? Assuming. Okay? If you assume, it could cause where maybe they're just a tiny bit off. But in this case, yes, they are parallel because they have the same slope. So you always want to prove it. Okay? Questions? Yes, sir. Alright, you guys do the next picture, and we'll check it. Now, the reason I picked those points, you just have to, you can pick any point on your own. You just want to make sure that you know, like, we don't want to pick it because it's in between 1 and 2. So we don't want to have to estimate, okay? Think it's about. No, okay, so this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. This one. You don't have to estimate. So you want to make sure that you're perfect answer. You can tell exactly. What'd you get for one of those slopes?
-3 over 2.
Okay, -3 over 2. slope?
-2/3.
Alright, so we have a -3/2 and a +2/3. So, what are those?
There's a,
Perpendicular.
They're perpendicular. Did you have to pick those same points that I did?
No.
No. You just have to pick 2 points that you can tell exactly where their intersection is on the graph. Questions?
No.
Good. Alright, the next set, example 4, we're going to take a point, and we're going to take an equation, and we're going to write another equation that's parallel on example 4. So we're going to have 2 steps, and then when we go to the next one, we'll still have those 2 steps, but we'll have a 1.5 step. So here's one thing that I need you to write because I forgot to put it on here. I need you to write down the point slope form. It's y minus your y1 time equals your slope times x minus x1.
Sweet.
Alright, so we're going to have 2 steps. Number 1, make sure your first equation is solved for y. Some of those equations are going to take you longer than the others. This first one is going to be the type that takes you the longest. And then second, we're going to use our slope, and we're going to use our point, and we're going to plug in to that point slope form. Alright, so we have 5x minus 2y equals 8. Is it solved for y? No. So, what do I need to do first?
Well, first, you need to add.
Okay. Remember, I'm getting y by itself, so I'm going to subtract 5x. So that gives me negative 2y equals a negative 5x. And is it a positive 8 or negative? Positive 8. Is y completely by itself? No, so I need to do what? Divide by what kind of 2?
Negative.
Okay. So that gives me y equals 2 negatives make 8. 5 has 8. And 8 divided by negative 2. Negative 4. What's my slope in our equation? 5 halves. If I'm writing a parallel line, do I need to change my slope? No. Next thing I want you to do, label your x1, your y1 point. Alright, so now we're going to use our point slope form and we're going to fill in. So, I'm going to leave y alone, but minus your y1 value. What is your y1? 9. I'm going to take my slope because we're doing parallel, and I'm going to put that in right there. Look. And then I'm going to do parentheses, x minus your x1 value. What's your x1 value? 2. Now distribute. Because y minus 9 we haven't done anything with yet. So distribute. What do I get? 5 halves x, and then 5 halves times a negative 2 gives me what? Negative 5. Questions up to that point? Is y completely by itself?
No.
No, so I need to do what?
Add 9.
Add 9 to both sides. That gives me y equals 5 halves x. Negative 5 plus 9 is what?
4.
Positive 4. That is your answer. That type of problem is going to be the one that takes you the longest. Okay? So you can skip that. You just go straight to step 2. Questions? All right, so let's look at the next example.
Wait,
Okay.
the only thing we did was just change the 4 to a plus.
Okay, now that's not always going to be the case. You'll see that on the next one. It doesn't work that way. So I promise you,
I thought,
it's not going to be that case.
I was just saying, why can't we just like, hey, just change the sign, no the extra work.
If it works that way, I would tell you, but it doesn't. This one just happened to work out that way. Good. Other questions though? All right. Right here, 4, 2, and y minus 1 equals 1 half x. Is that one solved for
No.
x? I mean y.
Because y from y.
Okay. All right, so what do I need to do?
Add 1.
Y equals 1 half x plus 1. What's my slope here?
1 half.
Okay. Am I changing my slope?
No.
No, because we're writing parallel lines. What's my next step? Okay. So label points x1, y1. And we're going to plug into the point slope formula. So y minus what? 2 equals my slope x minus x1, 4. Can I do anything with y minus 2 right now?
No.
No. Distribute this, and what do you get? Minus 2. Is y by itself yet?
No.
Not yet, so we got to keep going. So what do I need to get rid of? I need to get rid of that one, so I'm going to add 2. Y equals 1 half x plus 0.
Where did you even get the negative 2 from? Looks like you just put it in there.
Which negative 2, on the left or the right?
The
The left? Okay, so that negative 2, the formula, let me go back up here, was y minus y1, and our 2 was our y1 value. So that's where we took y minus that. Good question. Other questions?
I have 0.
Now, do you have to write the 0? No, you don't have to. But the 0 is where it crosses the y-axis, so it would cross at 0, 0 in this plot. Okay? Questions? Those are parallel lines.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm going to show you a trick on this next one. If you can remember the trick, then you won't have any work to show. If you don't remember the trick, you're going to have to show your work. Okay? So, easy as that, right? Alright, so we have negative 1 and 5. I don't like that point, so we're going to change it. Change it to 2, negative 4.
So just change the point?
Yes, we're gonna change the point. Now, you're not gonna change it on anything else. Okay, if I want a parallel line of y equals 5, tell me what kind of slope y equals 5 has. If you're not sure, sketch it out. Find y equals 5 on a graph and sketch it. It would be a slope of 0.
Wait, hold on. What'd you do?
Okay, all I did was just sketch out a quick graph. Doesn't matter if it's perfect or not. And then I went up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I drew a line through the y-axis because it was y equals. Alright, so if I want a parallel line, is it going to go through the y or the x-axis?
X.
I want parallel to y equals 5. It's going to go through the y value. Is my slope going to change? No, because it's parallel. So I'm still going to have a 0 slope. What's my y value in this ordered pair?
Somebody's trying to go to the back.
That's your answer. So another way you could do it is you could plot this point 2, -4, and draw a parallel line. Your y's have to stay with y's if it's parallel. Your x's would stay with your x. Okay? So let's do another quick example here. If I said x equals a -1 and I wanted to know 311. Just another example. If I'm parallel, the first part doesn't change. And this is when it's just y equals a number and x equals a number. Not when you have something else. Okay? So for your second one, I'm going to have x equals, what's my x value? 3. Okay? Questions on that one?
No, ma'am.
Can I go to the bathroom?
So let's just find the x value.
Alright, last one is we have perpendicular. So, exact same process, except for we're going to throw in like a step 1.5. Okay, we have one step to throw in, but I promise it's not a hard step and it's not a long step. Okay, so this is the first one we're going to deal with. 6, -13, we're going to use the equation y minus 2/9 x equals -5. And we want to write the equation as perpendicular. Okay? The coins need to be put away. Alright. So, is y by itself?
No.
No. So how do I get it there?
Add 2 x.
Is this any different from the other step 1? No. So I have y equals 2/9 x minus 5. What's my slope? 2/9.
Why did you write 4ax on that's a 2/9? Oh.
Which one?
Never mind.
Okay. Alright, so step 1.5. We've got to find the perpendicular slope. So to find the perpendicular slope of 2/9, what do we do when it's perpendicular?
It's opposite.
Flip it and,
Change the sign.
alright, so the opposite reciprocal, so what would that be?
-9/2.
-9/2. Once you find that, cross that other one out so you don't use it,
That looks like a 40.
and then label your X1, Y1.
You're right.
So step 1.5 is finding your perpendicular slope. Okay? Questions so far? Alright, so step 2, we're going to use point slope, and we're going to use this point, and we're going to solve for that y. So it's going to be y minus my y1. What's my y1 value?
Negative 13.
Negative 13. My slope, I'm using my perpendicular one this time, so negative 9/2 times x minus my x1 value.
A million. I'm just kidding.
Minus 6.
6. Two negatives right here make a what? Okay. So I have y plus 13 and distribute. What's that going to give me? Negative 9/2 times x gives me what?
Negative
Negative 9/2 times a negative 6. Positive 27. Am I done?
No.
Not yet. Alright, so what am I going to do?
Subtract 13.
And that's going to give me y equals a negative 9/2 x. What? 27 minus 13 gives me
14.
14. Questions? So the step 1.5 is just flipping the slope and changing the sign. That's it. Okay, it's not an extra long step.
Okie dokie, Rachel.
Alright, let's look at the next one. Once you start that next one, solve for y. I'm going to let you do that one by yourself and then we'll check it. Solve for y, get your slope and your perpendicular slope. What do you get for y equals what?
Negative 3 times 2.7.
Okay? And keep your slope in fractions. Okay? What did you get for your slope? What's your slope on that one? Next one. Negative 3 over what?
1.
Not over 1.
Over 2.
Should be negative 3 over 2. When I flip it, what's my perpendicular slope?
2 over 3.
So for step 2, it's going to be y minus your y1, which is what? 2 equals your perpendicular slope, so 2/3, times x minus what? 3. Distribute. That y minus 2 stays. I get 2/3 times x minus 2. Then what do I do?
Add 2 and 3.
And so my answer is y equals 2/3 x. Is it okay that I don't put that plus 0?
Yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter because it's plus
Now,
nothing.
If you
Basically.
need to plot it on a graph, where are you going to plot your y-intercept at?
Origin.
The origin, 0, 0. Alright? Questions?
So you have to
And the dog and the cat have a baby together. Go ahead, kid.
Alright, last one, and then if you need to go back to this, I will let you go back to this.
Wait, wouldn't that be minus 3?
Minus 30.
Like, y equals 2/3x minus 3.
No, it's not that bad.
No, because the -2 and positive 2 makes 0.
Huh?
Is that what you're asking right here?
Yeah.
The -2 plus 2, that gives
Yeah,
you 0.
but your x minus 3.
the 3.
Oh, the 3's cancel and gives me.
Ow.
Just let the 3's cancel and just gives me 2.
Oh, okay.
I'll go back to that if you need to in just a second. Alright, last one. We're wanting perpendicular. So the opposite on a graph of x is what?
Yeah.
The opposite.
What's the opposite of the x-axis?
Oh, the y-axis.
The y-axis. So if they give you x equals a number, you're wanting to find an equation that's y equals a number. Just like we did with parallel, you're going to take that from the ordered pair they give you. So my answer is y equals -3. Okay. What questions do you have?
Maybe we'll go back to your first question.
When Bobby.
What?
When body comes back.